I'm Minesh Baxi here, and I have another interesting guest with me today. I love hearing about new things happening, people who are succeeding, having accomplishments, and the younger they are sometimes, it's fun to listen to their story as well. So I have Gaurav Mukhi here. Gaurav, welcome.
Hi, yep, thank you for having me. Yep.
Yeah, well, here's the part. I think a lot of people have ambitions and desires, but not everybody becomes an entrepreneur, right?
Right.
So tell me a little bit about you at a young age. You said with DIA, you were one of the top recognized illustrator.
Correct.
So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I grew up in Detroit Public Schools, so I was there, and early on, art was one of my first loves. So, drawing and sketching, illustration, I worked on that stuff, and I was recognized, fourth grade, fifth grade. My work was submitted to the DIA, so, I won some awards there. Throughout the years, I've translated that, the attention to detail and, just the passion and creativity, the eye for creativity. I've translated that to different mediums. That, in that way, I've taught myself throughout the years, graphic design, web design, things like that. And I didn't see myself being an entrepreneur, when I was young. Of course, we all want to pick a path, and I figured maybe a doctor, medical, the traditional path.
The traditional Indian path.
Yeah, the stereotypical. But throughout the years, as I kept continuing, it's a passion I kept growing, and I found my niche in digital marketing now, and I feel that is where I can actually apply all of my abilities, but also my interests. And it's a field that's constantly changing, which keeps it exciting because of the technology that's always being advanced. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Let people know a little bit more about some of the awards you have won, because I know that was quite an accomplishment list.
Sure.
Here.
Yeah. In 2018, I won an award for entrepreneurial leadership, and I've won, various illustration awards throughout the years. I'm working on a couple more for this year for our agency, so I'd like to get some agency awards, of course. But yeah, that's some of it.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, do you have an interest in digital marketing?
Correct.
So digital market is such a broad scope nowadays.
Absolutely.
And I think everybody needs some version of digital marketing. It's because
Correct.
Internet has become such a common way of getting your information out to more and more people.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the type of businesses you work with.
So really, it could be any business or brand, right? It could be someone who's starting to make T-shirts tomorrow in their apartment to, 50 to 100 employees. I always stress, I work with a lot of startups, of course, as well. And so I actually develop what I call a phase 0 for them. And so normally I tend to really stress to them that their branding is important in today's time. That's the first step that you don't want to overlook. And branding can literally make or break, your entire business, your clientele, everything, because of the amount of both competition increasing in business in general, by the way, as a whole in the country or even around the world. More people are actually becoming entrepreneurial. More people are feeling like they want to have a second source of income after their full-time job. So they're doing stuff on the side. So it is increasing. But with that comes the fact that also technology is advancing. So you have to not only stay on top of trends and, technology, but also stay ahead of your competition. So starting with that first seed that you plant to, for yourself, the branding, that's essential.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Now, branding overall is what I heard recently somebody say very well, is that the emotional impression you create the moment somebody sees maybe your logo, maybe they hear your voice,
Absolutely.
Whatever that is a brand for you as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure you see that as a very critical component of your digital footprint.
Correct.
So what are some of the things that you would recommend people, because people who are watching, they may not want to hire you, but they want to learn something about digital marketing. So what are some of the steps they can take to create a better brand in the marketplace?
Right. And actually I can present some of the hottest tips I would recommend today for 2020. But I was going to start off by adding to your point and saying that actually one of the keys to marketing in general or branding or business is emotion.
Yes.
You have to trigger emotion. That is the core of sales.
Correct.
Some people don't realize that. Some people are born and raised in sales, but they may not be able to trigger emotion.
Yes.
And the strongest, ad campaigns that I've studied or videos that have converted were emotion based.
Yes.
That's why Pixar has, 2 movies a year or 1 movie a year, but it does great because they crack that code. So again, rounding back to also what you said, which is that digital marketing is very broad in scope. So there are a slew of services, and there are countless tools that we utilize now, and every day we're adding to that list. Some of the current tips I would recommend, just right off the bat, is video has to be a part of your strategy, because in today's time, you can go live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn even now, which they just rolled out, and YouTube and Twitch, right? I'm sure there's other platforms coming and are also on the horizon. So our bandwidth's also only getting better with 5G rolling out soon.
5G?
Yeah.
I have 1G. I just recently upgraded to Comcast 1G. So who's providing 5G? I'm just curious.
Well, 5G on the mobile networks, it's going to be rolling out.
Oh, yeah, that 5G. Yes.
That's what I meant. But yes, of course. That's going to allow for video to be, a lot more common, a lot more usable and accessible for everybody. And now, you can simulcast on all of them. Simulcast meaning that you can go live on all of them at the same time. So I would really stress that every brand focus on video and try to create content that is interactive. It allows you to directly interact with your audience, no matter how small or how big, because it's more of a personal touch.
Yes.
And I'm going to touch back on that point too, but personal touch is key again to this present time of brands. But the personal touch allows you to connect with them and gain, valuable feedback and information from them, which allows you to direct your direction of your brand, but also increasing customer loyalty because it's personal. And also, you can utilize that video that you create and recycle that content. So that's one of the aspects that, it's easy to do, and it's a smart tip, is to take the same piece of content, utilize it in different ways. You can take that video and turn it into a blog post. You can piece that video out into different pieces. You can upload it to a YouTube channel. You can constantly, you could create an ad out of that video. You could use it as customer testimonial, all kinds of things. So that's definitely one tip.
I agree.
And, what's interesting is Amazon's going to be rolling out live streaming soon to add to their products. And that's going to kind of change the game too. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go. I'm just pulling out my second tip here.
Yes, go ahead.
Any
this
thoughts
is
on
good
that
information.
One? Yeah.
Well, live streaming is very important. I think
course,
more and more people want to be part of something going on, even if remotely they are too far from the situation.
Right.
And live streaming helps you be there compared to where you were. And again, live streaming is basically like having your own TV network.
Exactly. In today's time, everyone can set it up and everyone can have their own show. They can instantly become their own celebrity. And that's where, people are creating their own followers organically.
Yes.
And that leads me to the second point, organic and local versus chasing followers and numbers. So, Instagram has already tested this out, which is that they're removing the like count on their photos soon. And they have already done it in certain areas of the world, but now soon in the US they will be rolling it out. So likes will no longer matter. You won't be able to see the counts of any photo that's how many likes it's gotten. Only you as the user on the back end internally will be able to see it, but not publicly. So it won't be used as a way to show off your attention or your likes, right? So, back to that point, organic and local matters. You want to cultivate your local customers, even if your audience is small, you cultivate it and create a personal relationship with them, because then they're loyal to you. They actually become your influencers indirectly or directly. They are the ones out there promoting because it's real, it's wholesome, it's coming from, word of mouth. So with that said, look to your own audience and see if you can put the power in their hands and turn them into your influencers.
Very good point. I think that's why this program is Local Business Spotlight, and the whole goal is to create more local awareness rather than just trying to everybody on the planet.
Yes, and that's the thing, is the difference is the more you do that and the more organic you present your brand, this pairs well with your website design and your logo design and everything like that. Because if you tell a story, if you tell your brand story through your website, why you started it, or what is your goals, what is your mission statement, but keep it really what have you done locally and things like that, you're just really conveying a personal story that they'll connect with. And again, back to the other point of emotion, you're tying that back in, and it just creates a connection to the brand, right?
Wow.
Once you have that, you are 10 steps ahead of your competition who's just trying to pump out ads on Google and Instagram where they're not directly connecting. Because once you have that loyalty and that commitment, I think you have them, right? And then they're not really going anywhere, but you also have to then cultivate that itself, which is creating more content for that audience you already have, and keeping them in the loop, keeping them connected, right? So that's always important too, is once you have a customer, you don't want to create the revolving door effect, which is also something that I've been speaking upon, which is going in and coming back out. You want to keep them in. You want to keep them, and I don't mean necessarily a physical location, but
Sure.
keep them locked into your brand.
Yes.
Give them more things to stay, committed and staying interacted
Yes.
with your brand. And that doesn't have to be pushing your products. In fact, pushing your product or service should be 20% or less of whatever you're even presenting to them.
Yeah.
The rest is literally conversations, interactions and conversations socially via video, all of that.
The people want that connection. I think more and more people need to realize that
Yeah.
this is not about mass marketing.
Right.
Now, mass marketing done in a way that the individual feels you are talking to that person.
Exactly.
If I'm talking to Gaurav, I have his name, then suddenly Gaurav is interested. But on the other hand, if it's just hi, that's
Right.
too broad. It doesn't
Right.
get the attention of the right person that you're
Right.
looking for.
Right. Exactly.
Very good point. I agree with you.
And I think people are looking for that because there is so much that we are all inundated with in today's market.
Yes.
Everywhere you go, socially and in person and in stores, when it comes to commerce in general.
Correct.
So when you're inundated, you don't know how to, siphon through it and filter through and decide what purchase to make or who to go to, right? So you're looking for like your belonging, your feeling of comfort. I think more and more people subconsciously as a society are doing that, and I think society is shifting without us realizing it, which is that we are looking for a local comfort or a direct personal comfort from our exchanges, because we are, amongst millions of people doing video, millions of people posting content, right? So that's interesting too on a more, meta scale.
And I think
right?
people don't realize how powerful that is, and
Right.
we need to be catering to that kind of audience ourselves directly. I mean, Dale Carnegie said this long time ago in How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Correct.
The sweetest sound in everybody's ears
Yes.
is their own name.
Correct.
Well, it doesn't go too far from there, does it? It's always the
Exactly.
same case from that perspective.
Exactly.
I know. So is there a website people can go to find out more about you?
Yes. So our new website will be weareteamvaliant.com, and it'll be actually launching in about a week or so.
Okay.
Valiant is always VALIANT, just to specify. And, I can touch on that real quickly and
Go
just
ahead.
say that Team Valiant is a newer brand that I founded, even though I've been in this industry for quite a few years now. And Team Valiant, our vision and our mission is more so to be bold and to be brave in this world of constant change and take those chances as new brands, because it's only going to benefit you, but you can't be afraid to take the risks because just because you're not familiar with something or with the technology, it's okay. Being bold and taking chances is what will also help you succeed as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
no matter what. And I'd like to pride ourselves that we are bridging two gaps together, which I believe makes us unique, which is that we are bringing a creative approach and an artistic approach with an art-based, basis, and merging that with new technology such as AI and biometrics, things like that. So you have the collision of art and advanced tech, and that is what is defined by Team Valiant.
Very good. And I think the main part is always going to be the same. People need the right exposure.
Correct.
They need to connect with people, and they need to create or elicit that emotion
Exactly.
that people will feel that connection.
Correct.
And once you can create that, the rest is easy. Like you said, Pixar, Disney, Star Wars has created that, obviously, and
Correct,
Marvel
yep.
Comics and
Yep.
so on and so forth,
Yep.
that these sequels are pretty much guaranteed to be a hit.
Exactly.
And because that emotional component is so strong,
Right.
that people are like, I would like to go back again
Right.
for that same experience. Like, I'm a Bond fan. I don't know if you are,
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
but yeah,
My,
this is like
my dad actually is for a long time. So.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
25th Bond movie coming out.
Correct.
And surprisingly, it's coming out in April, which is not normal for
Right,
what I
right.
remember, usually around November, December.
I believe they moved it up. I think
They
that's
moved it
why.
up to
Yeah,
April.
Yeah.
And I'm always a fan of Bond, so I'm always going to be like, okay, that elicits an emotion in me to say
Exactly.
that is worth for me to check that out.
Right.
And hopefully it's lives up to my
you know
expectation.
that's loyalty. That's emotional loyalty that you've had with that specific thing. However, that's been around for a long time. It's just that now it's more, defined in today's world. But that's been around since the early days of Bond, right?
Yes.
So Yeah.
But they've been able to keep their audience, and I think we need to be able to do that for our audience.
Exactly.
And that's exactly the key part.
Exactly.
How can people get hold of you other than the website? Is there anything else you want people to know?
Yeah. So our Instagram is Team Valiant USA for now, and you can look me up on LinkedIn as well, and connect with me directly there. And soon, once again, our new website will be launching, and once that's there, literally, if you guys want to out there learn about some of the stuff I've mentioned, you'll find the information on there. And a lot of these tips I'll actually be collecting into a mini book that I'm actually writing right now and releasing soon,
Sure.
which will be the hottest tips to activate in 2020. So more on that soon.
Very fantastic. Well, thanks for taking the time to educate our audience.
Of course.
I know they must have been excited about what are the hottest tips in digital marketing and marketing in general for 2020, and I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us.
No problem.
Thanks again.
My
Look forward
pleasure.
to talking to you soon.
Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye.